A very good morning to one and all. Now we are going to show you an experiment to tell you how our lungs are affected during smoking. For this experiment we are using materials like the bottle with some cotton inside. It's going to act as our lungs. Next we have a pack of cigarette, which is obviously needed to show you how cigarettes affect our health. Then again cotton, which we are using to represent as lungs. Then the lighter to light the cigarette. Okay, so without further ado, let's start the experiment. First, we are taking a cigarette. Now we keep it in the bottle with the mouth side facing down. Now let's light the cigarette to see what happens. We are lighting it with the help of air. Okay, now the cigarette is lit. Let's see what happens. When we squeeze the bottle alternatively, smoke is released into the bottle, as you can very well see. This shows that when we drink a cigarette, the smoke goes into our lungs and our lungs absorbs the smoke. Let's see what happens to the lungs once the smoke is absorbed. As you can see, the first cigarette is almost exhausted and inside the bottle is full of smoke. The lungs is going to absorb the smoke. Let's skip another cigarette to see the long time effect. Now I take another cigarette, put in the bottle and let's light it up. Take away. Okay, there we go. The cigarette is lit. Now let's see what happens once again. Now with the second cigarette to exhausted, we move on to the third one. We are actually planning to do this experiment with about 4 cigarettes to exhibit the long-term effects of smoking. So without further ado, let's put in the third cigarette and light it up. Okay, so we are lighting up the cigarette. And as you can see, now the bottle is almost filled with only smoke. The cotton has almost become invincible. With the cigarette lit, the smoke goes in rapidly into the bottle and the cotton absorbs it at a faster pace. This is how our lungs are affected during smoking. With the third cigarette exhausted, let's move on to the fourth one. By now you can see that the white cotton is no longer white. It has turned to an almost yellowish color. Our lungs are affected this way when we smoke. Okay, so now since the cigarette is fixed, let's light it up. Okay, now the cigarette is lit and again the bottle starts consuming the smoke.